Take two. What's up, gamers? Metallic Rock here, and I just dinged to level 25 in Season of Discovery on my Warlock. And if you rolled a Warlock in Season of Discovery, you might know that being a Warlock was kind of like this. It was very hype, and then it was very exciting, and then it was very concerning and very worrying, and then very angry, and then a little resentful, and if you're like me, you finally come to the point of acceptance. And of course, what I'm talking about here is the Metamorphosis rune. I think somewhere probably around 80% of people who rolled Warlock in Season of Discovery were planning to go for the meta rune and tank at least once or twice, you know? It was easily the coolest rune that they had showed for Season of Discovery, and it was in everybody's sights. If you picked a Warlock, you probably wanted to tank. It wasn't discovered for a very long time in Blizzard terms. You know, it was impressive that they were able to hide it for as long as they did, with the amount of people scouring through Azeroth, leaving literally no stone unturned, no NPC unchecked on the journey to find the rune. And there were rumblings about what if Blizzard forgot to put it in, but there were responses from game directors saying, no, just check, it's somewhere out in Azeroth, only to then find out that it was in fact left out, had to be hotfixed in, and was inside of the new level 25 Black Fathom's Depths raid, which was kind of a double whammy of disappointment for a lot of players who were hoping to tank dungeons or even the raid for their friends, kind of threw a wrench in the plans. Some of this has now been rectified, which is why I said I've come to acceptance. I think there's been good compromises made, and some devs have admitted that this was not the most well implemented rune, and they have taken things to, kind of compromise what the players wanted with what the devs did, because they can only walk back so much. But the gist is that now you do not have to do Black Fathom Depths. Mobs are outside of the dungeon, which will allow you to obtain it, but at the end of the day, you're not going to be tanking dead mines for your friends on your Warlock. And this has a lot of players throwing like little tamper tantrums? Temper tantrums at the devs over the way they've implemented this rune. And listen, nobody's happy about this. This isn't a good thing, but people are saying like, oh, well, I'm already level 25, the phase is over, there's no more, calm down, okay? Like, first of all, there's the level 40 phase, the level 50 phase, the level 60 phase. There's plenty of content to do in other phases. Not only that, it's the 7th day of Season of Discovery. Like, if you're out of content, that's like a personal problem. I know it sucks to be level 25, but like, you can get the rune now before the raid, right? So like, I get to tank the raid on my Warlock the first time I go to the raid. So it's not great, and the devs have admitted that, but it's also not the worst thing in the world, and your life isn't ruined. Two things can be true at once. People need to calm down. Outside of the Metamorphosis rune drama, what has Warlock been like? Well, I'm a tank player in retail and in classic. In classic era, I rolled a warrior. In a hardcore, I rolled a warrior. I play tanks, and playing a warlock versus a warrior was already going to be jarring without the use of runes. Warrior is suffering and pain and sadness in classic, especially by yourself. And while I can't speak to warriors or for warriors, I have people who have played warriors. They seem to be doing much better. Much better. Warlock was night and day, and some of it was rune-related, and some of it was class-related, but you get Haunt as your level 2 rune. Haunt deals good damage, boosts your shadow dots, and heals you when it ends or the target dies with Haunt on it. Wow. It's incredible damage and throughput healing constantly throughout every mob you fight. There's another rune called Master Channeler, which you can get pretty early on, that turns your drained life into a dot that you can cast spells or melee or do whatever you have to do while you're draining life. Combine that with Haunt, and I'm ending pulls off with more health than I started with, especially if you put talent points into improved drain life while you run Master Channeler. Add to that improved life tap, making your life taps a lot better, which feeds into the Metamorphosis. If you know the rune, it increases life tap's mana regeneration by 100%, so improved life tap is something that a tank player would be taking anyway. You are using your health pool as a mana bar throughout the entire leveling process. As a Warlock, I didn't carry water. I didn't carry food. You know, I've maxed out my cooking now, but I didn't level cooking, which is very different from a warrior, where I'm constantly trying to keep my cooking maxed. It just wasn't necessary on Warlock. Between Haunt and, with a couple points into Improved Drain Life, I've ranked 2 Improved Drain Life at 25, and Master Channeler makes Drain Life cost 100% more mana, but do more damage and healing. Drain Life on its own was usually outpacing most mobs at my level, or 1 to 2 levels higher maybe, their auto attacks. Just Drain Life on its own. Add Haunt into that, which I pretty much have Haunt active exclusively if I'm questing, and you're ending up with more health produced than lost per fight. You just mana tap. As the mob dies and Haunt goes off, giving you 100 health, just convert that 100 health to mana real quick, and then you're full health and full mana at the end of every single pull. There's literally no downtime. There's a couple of downsides, though, with Haunt doing a pretty good amount of damage, especially when you stack it with other runes that give you like increased crit chance, and your Haunt crits like decently often. Things like the Void Walker are completely useless. I mean, Void Walker has Sacrifice, which is pretty nice, but I mean, if you want to stand there and just dot up mobs like it's not Season of Discovery and just kind of stand there until the dots kill stuff, you can do that. I ran the Imp. The Void Walker's not keeping aggro on anything if you're haunting it, and especially not if you're Chaos Bolting it, which is another glove rune that I've found. It's just not happening. You might as well just run damage and start tanking even though you don't have the Metamorphosis rune. I just face tanked every mob while my Imp and then my Succubus kills the mob with me. They just do better damage. The Void Walker doesn't do enough damage to also not be tanking. I just ran a damage pet, and it was a lot better. It went very fast. Leveling was very quick, very smooth, very easy. The hardest part was unlocking the Succubus, because if you've done that quest, you have to run all over Azeroth, and all over Azeroth again. It sucked. But if that's the hardest part, it's a lot better than Warrior, let me tell you. So leveling a Warlock was pretty great. What about Season of Discovery in general? Well, I mean, a couple of the biggest changes are the runes and the level cap, I think. And as far as the level cap goes, I love it. I think it's a great idea. Classic is one of those things that I always fall out with. The idea of like, you got so much left, and you're just falling behind. And I think Season of Discovery is aimed at a maybe older, more dad-like, parent-like demographic. So I think the level cap's great. You know, there are people already complaining that we're out of content to do. That's fine. Play another game. Level another character. You'll figure it out, all right? There's a lot of people who haven't hit 25. I'm 25. All my friends are 25. And we're fine. We're great. We could just do dungeons, try to get Gigabyss items, do the raid, try to get, I leveled up my professions. I got tailoring maxed. I got skinning maxed. I got my fishing I got my fishing maxed. I got my cooking maxed. I'm just playing side quests. When you hit 25, it's like you hit a level cap, like 60. So XP gets converted into gold. If you're fine with giving up those quests that you may use in the next phase, you can just turn them into gold. So people are doing that, and I'm just trying to profit on the auction house. Instead of doing the quests, I'm going to save my quest for me. My plan is to get the Metamorphosis rune later today, and then start doing like stocks runs for silk, to put silk bags on the auction house. There's things you could do. It's World of Warcraft. Find something to do. Just run Dead Mines for your guildies. Run it for somebody else. Classic, in my experience, in my opinion, has always brought out a more social side in me, where I'm willing to be a little goofy and sillier with people, particularly in the discovery of runes, because I've discovered every rune that I have either on my own or with like people in general chat or someone on a Discord call having an idea. There's one where I've never used the rune, but you have to like drain 2 souls, a pure soul and an evil soul, and we just talked about it, me and somebody in Discord, and they had a great idea, and it worked, and we discovered something. It's been exciting. I may crack, I may give up at some point. Some of the runes are bound to be very obscure, and Blizzard knows people tend to look stuff up. But as far as it goes now, I'm pretty happy with the runes I have. I have Chaos Bolt, which I run when I'm in dungeons. I run Haunt and Master Channeler when I'm not in dungeons. And when I'm in dungeons, I run one that boosts my pet and my crit by 10%. That's a chest. I don't remember the name of that one. And then I run Chaos Bolt and Incinerate, and there's some cool rune combos, especially for Warlock. You've got Incinerate, which I have, and Lake of Fire, which I don't have, but I've heard about, both boosting your fire damage, which Chaos Bolt is fire damage, and Chaos Bolt doesn't always crit in Classic like it does in Retail, but it can crit. And sending in a double boosted Chaos Bolt that hits for like 800 damage, oh, I can't wait till I have Lake of Fire, because that sounds, you just see this Chaos Bolt truck the mob and its health bar just drops. That's always been like a pleasure in Classic, seeing your abilities hit, and Warlock's got some things that can really hit in Season of Discovery, and it's a great time. So that's the way my journey as a Warlock in Season of Discovery has been going. I actually stream Season of Discovery, the last week at least, over at twitch.tv/metallicrock, and today, December 5th, if you're watching this that day, I'm going to be live getting my meta rune, and we can try out Warlock tanking. Hopefully, later this week, another video can come out that talks about how good Warlock tanking is, whether it's actually decent or really bad. I'm not sure how it's going to turn out in this phase, but I actually have a feeling in later phases it might be one of the better dungeon tanks. Dungeons aren't really in-game content in Classic, so that could end up being a bad thing, but I think it'll actually be very good for AoE farming next phase when they get Hellfire. That's it for this video. Let me know what cool runes you've found and any experiences that you've had in Season of Discovery that have been standout. As always, I'm Metallic Rock, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.